I wonder from the Youth Parliament's perspective, Kristers and Skye, is that something that you came up with when you were thinking about it, working through it with other MSYPs, was around about how do we make the links between well-being and sustainable development and the planet itself? Is that something that you thought about?
Well, we had discussion with the other young people, and we looked at well-being, and we also looked at sustainable development and the way in which they might be cohesive, how they might link together. And then we looked at the definition in that context. When we looked at it, there were a number of similarities between the two concepts. And so, yeah, we felt that there is a very strong link there. Skye, I don't know if you would like to say anything further.
Yeah, I think when we had this conversation, as Kristers just mentioned, there seemed to be a lot of interrelatedness between the two. Well-being does seem to be very much linked to the idea of climate change and sustainable solutions. A lot of the well-being issues that people mentioned often tended to have some sort of even just a background link to sustainable development. So I think there's both this idea that it can't compromise the future, but it is still a very big issue to well-being for young people now. So when we were looking at sustainable development, we were looking at incorporating climate change, sustainable solutions, nature and education. But currently our well-being is very much linked to our environment, what our access to nature is, whether our environments actually sustain higher well-being, because there's not much an individual can do if their environment isn't supportive of that atmosphere.
Thanks very much for that. And
in terms of the Commissioner, and we're looking at the future and the changes that we might want to incorporate into our future planning, and having the vision as to see what we might want to do, I think it would be important to maybe have like one person who does have that vision, but equally they need to work in a group of other like-minded people. So, say for example, when COVID impacted and people were suitably taken off guard there, I think that the government should have maybe listened a little bit more to what the populace were saying, because I don't think that they did. I think people recognised that the government wasn't listening to them, and I think that some individuals felt that it's going to be meaningful if they do listen to us. However, it transpires that things don't take out. So from that point of view, I think it is important that we really do listen to and adhere to what the people are telling us, and so therefore perhaps the Commissioner's a good idea.
Thanks for that. Anyone else? Skye, do you want to come in? Or?
I think I'd be echoing what Kristers says. I think not to contradict what anybody else has said, but I think young people recognise that the Commissioner role isn't necessarily a silver bullet. It needs to be. It would be meaningless if it didn't actually lead to real change. So a future focus shouldn't be the responsibility of one person, because that means that it can get left in the cracks. So it really needs to, it might be good to have somebody who can hold people accountable, but again, they need to be empowered to do so.
Absolutely, thank you.